What's up, people lovers? N4C is over, and I have a lot of stuff to say, have a lot of thoughts to share, and I think some people might be interested in it. Typically, in my other offline tournaments I did, N4C 1, 2, 3, I always did like a 20-minute, 30-minute speech at the end and thanked everyone, cried a little bit, and wanted to do that this time as well. Didn't really happen though. I kind of tried to excuse BCQD and Aussie Drongo. They sat there, and it got a bit awkward for me, and that's why I'm now taking the time and yeah, give you a bit more of my thoughts and can go a bit more into detail. Let's just start off with the hottest thing and the speech itself, right? In my weird belief, if I do happy speeches, I also should do sad speeches. To simply not take away from the happy speeches, right? If you only do happy speeches, then you don't need the speech at all, in my opinion. I'm like, maybe I'm just keeping like transparency and honesty too high there or whatever. Or like, it might be one of my brain bugs, right? And I felt like if I was ever unhappy, I should say it. That being said, though, I in hindsight see that it was a mistake, and that I probably should have just cut off the speech, said nothing, just sent to highlights and share everything I have to say now in a special video, because I know what it resulted into. It resulted into me mentioning 7, 8 good things, 1 bad thing, and people saying, okay, he mentioned 1 bad thing at the end, let's completely jump on that one, let's ignore these 7 good things, let's ignore BCQD, and people are going wild. And I underestimated that. I thought it was a smaller portion, but I can see how people would jump on that. And I now know that it took away a lot from the tournament, and took away a lot from BCQD, and I'm sorry for that. Yeah, so that's also my learning for the future. I'm probably doing shorter speeches, if they're happy speeches, or not at all. Yeah. And yeah, let's jump into all the things that... Well, not the speech. All the stuff that I normally would have said during the speech. Production. So obviously we had 3 people working there full-time. Overlay guy, 2 other people that were pretty experienced. And they pushed the tournament forward so much. It was absolutely crazy that we had basically no downtime. I think I had 1 minute on... I had 1 moment on like day 2 or 3 where I had to fill like 3 minutes and didn't really know what to do. Except that we had constantly game, interview, highlights into the next game, into casters, into maybe some ads, but like it was, I was so happy with like how, like viewer retention is something we talk about later with viewer numbers, but that's, yeah, it just allowed us to have such a crazy good product, and I'm happy with that. Obviously, Overlay guy, together with Kush, just an incredible job with the overlay. We took quite some time, and a lot of like hours went into that one, digging deep into Age of Empires 4, trying to create something, and I think it made the game so much more watchable, exposed so much more to the game, and they actually could follow, especially casuals, that I'm super happy. It was not 100% what I wanted, and there were some mistakes. Let's go through learnings there again. I'm not sure if I would ever do a clean feed again, because it was like the idea behind the clean feed was I did N4C 3 close streaming because I was scared I wouldn't get enough viewer numbers, and I felt like the pressure on N4C 3 to represent AoE 2 was so big that I craved for every single viewer. And I felt bad for it and promised myself I will never do like close streaming tournaments again. And that now I felt like, okay, let's do the next step and let's go a clean feed and make it great for everyone. But it actually cost a lot. It took a lot of attention away from production, and I'm not sure like how big the gain for the whole community is, right? I think there were like three bigger streamers covering the event with the clean feed. Yeah, and maybe giving them the observing tool might have been enough, if that worked. So that's a big question mark for me. But overall, pretty happy with the product that we put out there. Yeah. Then casters. Obviously, lots of people unhappy that Grubby left, unhappy that Grubby streamed during that. That was all agreed upon. That was exactly like we had lots of discussions, and yeah, he was super happy with the event. He simply wanted to stream quite a bit on his channel as well. That's why we also had the behind the scenes stream with him, which was very well received. He was super happy. At one point, he even considered staying longer, but then he simply needed to stream a bit on his channel and needed to work on that. So all good, zero bad intentions. It's exactly what we agreed on. Aussie Drongo. First, let's continue with Grubby. Incredible caster, right? I'm just impressed. Like it's tricky when I listen to him, like when I cast with him, because I'm fanboying so much, and I'm so happy how he explains his train of thought, and he is so good at the mic. Yeah. Also can jump into some hype casting there if need be. Great interviews as well. Like I'm super happy. Aussie Drongo. First ever offline event. Was reasonably scared at the start, trying to adjust to all the settings. Nailed it. It felt like he was casting from home. He adjusted well to his co-casters and was very flexible in all that he did. Yeah, really happy. Dave, obviously not that deep into AoE 4. Great dedication there. Like I wrote him a file. Okay, what is the meta? What do we need to do? He cast the qualifiers and he like listened to the players said behind them for hours just to sponge up all the thing. And like he developed so much as a caster during the event. Like his quarterfinal and semifinal cast were like a complete difference level than the first weekend. So like super happy with his progress, and obviously he's one of the most fun guys to be around. So really happy that he was there, and I think this mixed up pretty nicely. I have to say, yeah. Would have ideally liked to have players cast even more, but I can see that needs to be established a bit more. And also with like Viper and the Muslim both struggling at points, those were the players that I kind of counted on casting a bit more or was hoping for. They obviously didn't have the big incentive, but all good, and the casters carried heavily. I obviously wanted to cast way less than I actually did. Yeah, but that's how it ended up. Players, I was a bit scared, like throwing all those in, because like there's not the big bonding, not the big friendship that we had with other tournaments, and they were so nice to each other. Like obviously like so much strategy discussion, so friendly, like big friendships. Like all of them like agreed to train after that now, and it's like having this joining the practice room is just like the intensity and everyone like aiming for the same goal, and then all the banter and fun laughs. It was so nice, like way better than I feared. And obviously they were so open, obviously also so on time, so prepared, and we had some weird stuff with production there that obviously like we always had to set up the PCs and they had to take the PCs to the next room and such, but everyone knew how this tournament was run and everyone completely adjusted to it, and I was pretty happy. Yeah. Games. So this feels a bit weird now, but I've seen multiple thousands, maybe over 10,000 hours of esports. And probably 2 moments that make it in my top 10 were from this tournament. The Lenok Marine Lord game on King of the Hill and Mr. Landmark Snipe. And there were so many good games. I think, honestly, like, this is the AO4 tournament with the best games. And I'm so happy how much the players also worked on improving this, right? They were very vocal on what needs to be banned, what needs to be addressed, how the ban system, what maps, and a lot of stuff I didn't like. But luckily I did listen to them, and we ended up with the really good games, really entertaining ones, and lots of actions, lots of open maps. And yeah, I think they were simply great. Yeah. Then let's discuss something that I've never seen discussed, and it's actually scary. And maybe I'm a bit weird in that sense, but Corona. Obviously, my rules were everyone needs to be double vaxxed. I think 90% of us were triple vaxxed. Some of us like just got their second dose, so that's like pretty solid as well. And we did daily testing, and still like some took it more seriously than others. Some people said they take it seriously and didn't take it as seriously as they wanted. And it's crazy because Germany just has the highest numbers we've ever had. I flew people around the world, and I'm actually heavily questioning running this event. And it's sick how little attention that got. Maybe like people get careless now or something. And yeah, I think it might have been a mistake. Or maybe I should have had a bigger structure or something behind it. Or stricter rules. I don't know. That's certainly still a thing that I don't really know about. Yeah. Sponsors. I obviously hate advertisement. I hate doing sellout. I obviously knew I needed to do it a lot during this tournament simply because, as you know, I roughly had cost of like $115,000, and it was neutral till enjoyable to do that, simply because I stood behind the sponsors. HelloFresh, Anker Kraut, the food was delicious. Those 2 times 4 minutes in the kitchen felt absolutely natural. I actually enjoyed myself. Logitech provided so much gear. All their requests, like when it comes to sellout, like just put us on the logo, were so reasonable, so solid, and I was really happy with them. And I didn't know how it would feel like this, because obviously this is a project size that I've never done before in that sense. And people actually like didn't even turn off for like the kitchen sellout, for example. And that's or yeah. I'm not sure if they actually watched, but at least they didn't turn off, right? And that's really nice. That's really nice. So I think we found something that I see too rarely as actual sponsors that were really fitting for the event, and I'm happy with that. Yeah. Then obviously the big thing in the room, viewer numbers. Depending on when, I obviously had big dreams at one point, then they got lower basically every week now, after Age of Empires 4 was not in the best state when it comes to player numbers, when it comes to viewer numbers. And obviously some stuff went poorly when it comes to who advanced. I think like people rather would have liked to see it. Like if we have a Viper the Muslim final, we might have gotten 15k, 20k or something. I don't know, compared to a BCQ Lenok. But I honestly don't know. I don't know, right? That's a big question mark. Certainly, viewer numbers peak weren't as high as I at one point thought, and like as I said, right, I was starting to plan this tournament like in April. Like last year April, I like had the first thought about like and had the first contact with Microsoft, and then like in September it really got cemented, and in November or something I decided on AoE 4, and yeah. Not much more to say about that, right? It's not the numbers that I wanted. What was incredible though, and I've never seen it before, and I even compared it to other tournaments, was viewer retention. Like how long people watched. On days where we didn't have front page, the average viewer, like I had German front page on like 3 days for an hour each. The average watch hour of a viewer was 100 minutes, 101 minutes, 101 minutes, 108 minutes. And that's just ridiculous. People tune in to watch basically a full movie because they were so entertained. I got another stat from the semi-final day. The BSTQD Vortex semi-final. In the first 4 hours of the stream, the average viewer, like the average time a viewer spent on stream was 3 hours in the first 4 hours. So basically, if you tuned in to the event, you didn't tune off. And that's just so crazy, right? And that all comes down to how good the production was, how good the casters were, how integrated the players were, how good the games were. Like it just felt, it was sick. It was absolutely sick to see that. And that makes me hopeful, that makes me proud as well. And that's unheard of. I think Red Bull 5 had like 28 minutes. Maybe I should have looked up that statistics before I throw around numbers. But do I really want to look that up now? Maybe. And also, no, I don't want to. Why? It doesn't matter what they had. It's important what I have. And I had a crazy long amount, right? And people were really happy with the product. I got so much good feedback, and I just feared that with the low viewer numbers, like I thought this is the tournament that could expose AoE 4 to a greater audience again, right? Because I personally really enjoyed those games in the tournament, and I think it is great entertainment. And I think if more people tuned in, more people saw it, more people stayed that long, more people could completely jump into the game again, right? And I think this is the tournament that could have completely pushed AoE 4 higher again, and maybe into more player numbers, and maybe to more sponsors. And I think we represented the game really well. Yeah. Learnings. What did I learn? Clean feed, big question mark. Probably I will ask people beforehand in the future. And like, you are streaming, how much are you planning to stream? Maybe people contact me before. And then I think, okay, maybe we cut some into production. Maybe I don't know. It's just like, there were some losses on our end. For example, you saw that we did the Grubby stream, the clean feed, and those are basically like 2 things production has to care about, right? And only after Grubby left, we could do this like cameras 2 next to each other, like the double POV, right? Because that takes another source, and there's like extra screens and such. And so if we didn't have a clean feed, that would have been easier on our end, and we would have had a higher production value during the first 5 days if we didn't have a clean feed, right? So big question mark. Then all the social media stuff, I had to do way too much, like all the YouTube uploads, all the thumbnails, all the Twitter posts and something. I will clearly, if I ever do an event of that scale, have someone do all that for me. That was just way too much. Also, I will have an on-site runner, like someone that does all the small things, right? We had one person getting sick. I went to the pharmacy. Another person had some problems. I went to the pharmacy with them. Then arranging drinks, arranging food, right? So many small things. Like, I couldn't push the tournament to the limit while I was there because I had to do too much behind the scenes, and I only slept like from like 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day. So it's not like I was lazy. I like we did so much, and we had improvements every single day. But I think they could have been faster. I think some stuff could have been done before if I outsourced a bit more. Thing is, I outsourced quite a bit of stuff, and I think 50% of the stuff I outsourced I had to do again, or had to like fix stuff. And yeah, like it gave yeah. It's not always easy to give something to someone and hope that they have the same quality, right? Obviously, going to the pharmacy won't be a big thing. And then one major learning that I need to do, and I don't know how. I probably need to take some seminars, burnout prevention, right? Because I'm completely toast, and I haven't slept properly since probably November. And the event itself, I obviously only sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. I under so much stress, right? Under so much pressure, and that's why not being rewarded by viewer numbers hurt so much. But yeah. Now, like, right, and I told everyone, like, you still know, like, I'm responsible in the way of Microsoft tournament organizing, and told everyone, message me on the 15th. I got 45 Discord messages yesterday. Or maybe some up, like, maybe there's some congratulations and some, like, okay, let's have a talk or something. Like, let's say 30 people that actually want something from me now that I have to work through. And I put them all back, and I always handled all that while organizing the event as well. So yeah, I clearly need to do a better job of cutting down on something. Maybe stream less the 3 months before. Try not to participate in any tournaments the 3-4 months before, or something. Like, I need to come up with a better plan for sure, to stay sane. I already like realized before and didn't sign up for any new tournaments. Will probably take a pause. Will slow down on streaming a bit, but yeah, that's probably my biggest learnings. Do I still have anything left? Clean feed, runner, burnout, social media. I think that's it from my end. Likely that I forgot anything. I'll write it down, pin it as a comment. Just to repeat myself, I'm sorry how the speech went, right? And yeah. Goodbye, Belarus.